What's up? Today I thought I would show you how I make my homemade vegetable stock. So throughout the weeks as I'm doing my cooks, I have a plastic gallon bag where I essentially put all of my scraps. So today I've got orange peels, kale stems, asparagus, a bunch of different kinds of onions, some garlic casings, potato skins, might have already said that. So just whatever I'm cooking throughout the weeks, any of the scraps or things I'm not using, I put in here. And then obviously once it gets full, I know that I'm ready to make my stock. And pretty much I do this as a way to have something to do during these pandemic times. It's kind of fun to make some of your own base ingredients. It saves a little bit of money, keeps you from having to go out and buy some packaged stock, and it reduces waste, so I feel kind of good about doing it. So when you're making your own vegetable stock, there are a few different ways to do it. You can either pour some oil into your pot, do a quick 5-minute sauté with your vegetable items. You can also put your vegetable items on a baking sheet and bake them in the oven for about 30 minutes to get them a little roasty. Both of those options will add a depth of flavor. So if you have the time, if you have the energy and you want to do it like that, by all means go ahead. I'm gonna be lazy today and literally just pour my scraps into my pot and cover it with water. So any of the three options are perfectly viable. So in addition to my scraps that I'm gonna be using, I'm also adding about an ounce of dried mushrooms. I'm gonna add probably 2 sheets of dashi kombu, and then I also keep in the freezer some dried, fresh, not dried herbs, but fresh herbs. I've got sage, I've got rosemary, and thyme, so I'll probably throw some of those in as well. The kombu and the dried mushroom should help elevate the stock a little bit, give it a little bit of depth of flavor since I'm not doing any of the extras that the other two options provide. So at this point, all that's left to do is to bring the pot to a boil, and then we're gonna let it simmer for about an hour. I haven't added any other seasoning, salt, or anything else. I'll do that at the end, after I've essentially separated the solids from the liquid. All right, so at this point, the stock has simmered for about an hour, and I've let it kind of cool down some. I've turned it off. I have my largest mixing bowl ready. I've got my sieve here and then some tongs. So pretty much at this point, I'm going to pull out the vegetables, put them in here, and let it drain, because eventually you really just want the liquid. Pulling out the vegetables, you can, if you compost, you can then use these scraps in addition to compost. I'm just throwing them away because we don't have a compost station yet. I've pulled enough vegetables out now that I can essentially just dump this into the sieve. So you can see here, it actually has a really nice hue to it, which means it's actually seeped a lot of nutrients out of the vegetables. And basically, I kind of eyeball how much water I'm putting into the stock. I put enough water in so that it covers the vegetables completely, and then I add some more so that the vegetables are floating a little bit, because as it simmers, it's going to reduce down. So at this point, I'm going to taste it, I do tend to like to keep my stock a little bit on the slightly more bland side so that when I'm actually using it in a recipe, I can season it to taste according to whatever it is I'm cooking. So you can season your stock after tasting it however you like. And you can do almost anything to it. You can add miso paste, you can add tomato paste, you can add nutritional yeast, any kind of salt, pepper, seasonings that you want. You can really kind of play it up. I know some people add red wine or white wine to it. So it really just kind of depends on what you're looking for, but I personally like to keep it a little bit more subdued, and then I can enhance it when I'm using it in a cook. So let's see what we're working with today. Okay, that's actually really nice. The mushrooms and the dashi kombu kind of added a little bit more depth of flavor, which is what I was exactly looking for them to do. I get a little tiny bit of the orange citrus in there from the peels that I had. And overall, I actually really like it as is. I literally have done nothing else to it. I think I am gonna just add a couple things to it, nothing heavy. I'm gonna add a little bit of the white miso paste. I'm gonna add a little bit of the fish sauce. I'm gonna add a little bit of the coconut aminos. And I'm gonna add just a little bit of nutritional yeast because I add it to pretty much everything. Okay, yeah, that's actually really nice. I'm gonna leave it there because like I said, I don't wanna over season it. I'm gonna let it cool a little bit more, and then I'm gonna add it to the mason jars. Okay, so I'm gonna store my broth in mason jars. I'm probably gonna keep one jar out, and then I'm gonna freeze the rest, whatever's remaining. And the thing that you want to make sure that you're doing when you use mason jars is make sure that you leave enough room for them to freeze, because I have filled my jars too full and they've ended up cracking and I've had to throw the whole thing away. So I usually stop about here, definitely before it starts to curve. I would say that's probably 3/4 full. And then obviously you want to make sure that everything is completely cooled before you put it in the fridge or freezer. All right, so this is how much I was able to yield out of the stock pot I just made. I am freezing these, which is why they're lower. I'm not freezing these. I'm gonna put these in the refrigerator and use them this week, which is why they're more full. So pretty much just, if you wanna try this yourself, grab a gallon freezer bag, and anytime you're cooking, put all your scraps that you would maybe do through the dish disposal or the garbage, put them in the gallon bag instead, and then just pop it in your freezer. And then you'll just keep adding to it, and then when you have a full gallon bag, you'll be able to try and make your own stock. So good luck, enjoy, let me know if you have any questions. See ya.